Thank the gentleman. We'll now recognize the gentleman from Georgia, Mr. Hice, for 5 minutes.
Director Comey, your statement on Tuesday clearly showed that Secretary Clinton not only was extremely careless in handling classified information, but that also any reasonable person should have known better, and that also in doing so she put our national security at risk with her reckless behavior. So it seems to me that the American people are only left, based on your assessment, with just a few options. Either Secretary Clinton herself is not a reasonable person, or she is someone who purposefully, willfully exhibited disregard for the law, or she is someone who sees herself as above the law. And to muddy the water even further, after listening to you lay out the facts of the investigation, much of what you said directly contradicted her in previous statements that she had made. I think it's all this compiled, connecting the dots, that so many American people are irate that after all of this, there was not a recommendation for Secretary Clinton to be prosecuted. Now, I do greatly appreciate the fact that you came out with much more information on this than you would have in other cases. And I think that was the right thing to do. Undeniably, this is not a typical case. This is something of great public interest. Obviously, the subject of the investigation, former Secretary of State, former Senator, and all those things that we have talked about, former First Lady and so forth. And in addition to this, her husband, who happens to be the former President of the United States, is meeting privately with the Attorney General right before all of this interview takes place. Obviously, this is very suspicious, just the optics of it all. And at the same time that you're coming out, or more or less the same time that you are announcing the decision, Secretary Clinton is flying around in Air Force One with the President doing a campaign event. I mean, there's nothing about this case that's ordinary. There's nothing about the subject that's ordinary. So let me ask you this, Director. Did Secretary Clinton, in fact, comply with the Department's policies or the Federal Records Act?
I don't think so. I know you have the State Inspector General here, who's more of an expert on all the Department's policies, but at least in some respects, no. So
keeping the servers at home and all these types of things obviously is not in compliance with the Department's policies.
Yes, and I've read the Inspector General's report on that. That's part of the reason I can answer that part with some confidence.
Okay, and yet she said publicly that she fully complied. So there again is another issue. If you had the same set of facts, but a different subject, a different individual involved, say just an average, ordinary State Department employee or an anonymous contractor, what would have been the outcome?
I'm highly confident there would be no criminal prosecution, no matter who it was. There would be some range of discipline. They might get fired. They might lose their clearance. They might get suspended for 30 days. There'd be some discipline, maybe just a reprimand. I doubt it. I think it'd be higher on the discipline spectrum, but some sort of discipline.
So is it your opinion that there should likewise be some discipline in this case?
Yeah, that's not for me to say. I can talk about what would happen if it was a government employee under my responsibility.
Well, then what you're laying out is that there is a double standard. For someone else, a different subject, an anonymous contractor or someone at the State Department, there would absolutely be discipline, but because of who the subject is, you're not willing to say there should be discipline. So there's, again, this whole issue. This is what the American people are so upset about. Let me say that when you stated that no reasonable prosecutor would pursue this case, is that because the subject of this investigation was unique?
No. There's no double standard there, and there's no double standard either in the sense that if it was John Doe, former government employee, you'd be in the same boat. We wouldn't have any reach on the guy. He wouldn't be prosecuted.
But he would have some discipline.
Well, not if he had left government service.
Had they lied about having servers had they lied about sending and receiving classified emails, had they lied about not deleting those emails to the public, had they lied about not having any marked classified. The statements are clearly documented, and you're saying that an average person would experience discipline by your own words, but Secretary Clinton does not deserve to be disciplined.
The gentleman's time has expired, but the director may answer if he wants to.
An average employee still in government service would be subject to a disciplinary process. Now, if they left, you'd be in the same boat.
The gentleman from Georgia yields back. The chair will now recognize his friend from Vermont, Mr. Welch.